You're watching The Experience, Comic Culture and Sales, streaming live daily to Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter.
So, San Diego Con starts this week, or Comic-Con International, and it's a pretty amazing event. I went for the first time in 1995. I think I went 17 years straight before skipping, and now it's more hit or miss for me because it's gotten insane. I mean, when I first went, what is now considered the halfway part of the show floor, the half point, was the end of the floor. So it's doubled in size. Hall H wasn't a thing, But I've seen some amazing things at conventions. I talked to the Wishmaster. I had Gene Simmons talk to me about putting a firecracker up somebody's butt. I watched Don McGregor leap off a table and try to tackle a guy who he turned out didn't know. Turned out to be the wrong guy. Bodyguarded sort of for Tom Jane, getting him to the convention center. Got into an argument with Mark Alessi as I told him the year that he started CrossGen, I didn't think the company would work. Yeah, it's been a pretty interesting event down there, and it's always fun. And I'm not going this year, but I know a lot of people are. We're getting a lot of news. So we're going to cover some of the bits that are coming out right now. For those of you who want more, producer Kyle will be popping on at 8:15 Eastern tonight to give you some more of the news that has come up today. He's doing it once a day, each time covering some of the news, press releases and stuff for the companies. So you want to stick around for that. Otherwise, let's just talk about some of the news, and we'll talk about Only Murders in the Building. Sounds like fun? Let's do it. Today on the Dan Wickline Show. All right, everybody, welcome to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. It is... It's hit or miss if I'm going to get that. It is Wednesday, July 20th. It is New Comic Day. So make sure you go to your comic shop, your local shop. If you don't know where your local shop is, check out comicshoplocator.com. Put in the zip code where you are or where you're going to be. And go to your local shop, buy some books. All right, so we're going to hit some of the big news or the rumors and stuff. Hey, gamer. And I'm going to read some of this stuff directly from the news sites that are covering it, but I'll tell you which site. So if you want to read more, you can check it out. But there's just some interesting stories. Some are Marvel related, DC related. The first one we're going to do is actually Legendary and Godzilla / Monsterverse related. And they're actually going to pair up Kurt Russell, who I don't think has been on a TV show since he was on like Hawaii Five-0 in the 70s. Well, they're going to team him up with his son, Wyatt Russell, who, of course, played a U.S. agent in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. And they're going to appear in Godzilla and the Titans Monster series. So, that's coming up. A lot of companies are talking about that, but I'm reading it from Deadline. And it says, the Escape from New York star is now returning to the small screen in Apple's live-action Godzilla and Titans mini Monster series. He will be joined by his son Wyatt Russell in the series, which will air on Apple TV Plus and is part of the Legendary's Monsterverse. Wyatt Russell is currently starring in Under the Banner of Heaven alongside some guy named Andrew Garfield. You might have heard of him. Their roles weren't divulged, But the pair will star alongside Anna Sawai, Ren Watabe, Kiersey Clemens, Joe Tippett, and Eliza Lasowski. So if you are a Godzilla fan, you get to see Kurt Russell and his son Wyatt work together on a new series. And that's pretty cool to me. I love that Kurt Russell's coming back to TV. And I love that TV has really changed because of the streaming shows. Now you have people, Oscar Isaac on a TV show probably didn't sound that plausible until you went, oh, it's a Marvel show on Disney Plus. Okay, that makes more sense. You know, guys like that, Ethan Hawke joining him. So TV, especially these streaming shows, have really kind of bumped up their image, and you get these bigger actors, and that's cool. Like Harrison Ford or something like that popping up on a TV show. It's pretty cool. So that's the first bit of news I thought was interesting. Let's see, what's another good one? I like this one here. Another one from Deadline. The Mortal Kombat sequel is moving forward at New Line as Simon McQuoid returns as director. Now, this is an exclusive for Deadline, which is cool. It says, after the most recent Mortal Kombat pick overachieved at the box office, New Line is ready to get back in the arena on a sequel. Sources tell Deadline that Simon McQuoid is set to return as director for the follow-up to the 2021 action-adventure hit. Mortal Kombat McQuoid's feature directorial debut and was released simultaneously in theaters and on HBO Max during the pandemic in April 2021. Now, I don't know if I would have gone and seen it in the theater. I didn't have a burning desire to see more Mortal Kombat. I really liked the first movie. The second one was like, how do you replace Christopher Lambert with James Remar? I like both guys, but James Remar is not a replacement for Christopher Lambert. The feature opened number one at the box office and ranks among the top feature titles ever at HBO Max since the platform launched, while some point to F9 or A Quiet Place 2 as the picks that led crowds back to theaters post-pandemic. Mortal Kombat was one of the early features to take a crack at gauging audiences' interest in returning to theaters, and the results surprised many, especially since the film's premiere day and date at HBO Max. Execs were quick to get a sequel in development, and one of the first orders of business was bringing McQuoid back to direct. It was an interesting take. This was not what I expected. They did some stuff like introduce a brand new character. There's so many characters in Mortal Kombat that it was an interesting choice because they went, we're going to use this new character to be kind of the entry point for the audience so that you don't have people going, well, I wanted it to be this character's movie or that character's movie. Here's a brand new character. You get to meet all the other characters, but it's his movie. So I didn't hate it. I actually liked it quite a bit. But like I said, I wasn't planning to go see it. So the fact that it was on HBO Max made me go, okay. And then they had released the opening fight between Scorpion and Sub-Zero before they became those characters, or officially those characters. And it kicked ass. It really was a good opening fight. So I was pretty happy to see that. I thought it was good. I don't think I got it on Blu-ray. I buy a lot of stuff on permanent media because I don't trust streaming services will be there forever. But I don't know if that's one of the ones I got or not. But anyway, so that's another Mortal Kombat's coming. We get to follow those characters more, and I'm all for it. Let's see. While I was talking, JD said lower level actors aren't super happy about it. Everyone got knocked down a peg. I felt bad when they recast Goro. It's not like he can get other work. Yeah. Well, I mean, he could definitely work fast food, the grill with the... Seems like he'd be really good at it. All right, let's take another look. Let's see. So we did Mortal Kombat. Let's another good one. Okay, that's a biggie. Let's go with this one. There is a report. Now they're saying reported, and this is coming from CBR. A recent report suggests that The Witcher star Henry Cavill, are we now calling him The Witcher star? Can we still refer to him as Superman? Because it seems kind of weird to call him The Witcher star when we're talking about a DC thing. But a recent report suggests The Witcher star Henry Cavill will make an appearance at San Diego Comic-Con to promote more Superman projects. Perhaps Henry Cavill isn't entirely done with Superman and the DC Extended Universe after all. Ahead of this year's San Diego Comic-Con, Deadline, back over there, reported potential buzz about Cavill making a surprise appearance to talk up more Superman at the convention's Saturday Hall H panel. Should the rumor be true, Cavill would join DC's major previews for the upcoming Black Adam and Shazam! Fury of the Gods, headed by their respective leads, Dwayne Johnson and Zachary Levi. Whether this means the DCEU is working on another Superman-themed project remains unclear. Now, Johnson has wanted Superman to go up against Black Adam. They wanted to have Superman appear at the end of the first Shazam movie. So they could just be talking cameo, or him popping up in another movie. It doesn't mean, yes, the guy with the mustache from Mission Impossible. That's who I'm talking about. Sherlock Holmes in the Molly Brown Enola Holmes series. It's totally lost my train of thought. Damn you, JD. Just because he's coming in doesn't mean they're going to make another Superman movie or Superman project, but they should. They really should. Henry Cavill is an awesome Superman. He's an awesome representation for the industry and the character. You're talking about a guy who almost missed his audition for Superman because he was raiding with his guild in Warcraft. A guy who just, goes with his nephew to class because they're picking on him because he says his uncle is Superman and nobody believes him. Henry Cavill is a great representation for the character, and nobody has said otherwise. The fact that maybe you didn't like Man of Steel, you didn't like how it ended, okay, but that's Zack Snyder. You love Zack Snyder, you hate Zack Snyder, I don't care. Henry Cavill is a great Superman. We should get more. He's right up there. There he is. He's a great Superman. Let's stick with him. So, let's see. JD says, I'm surprised they're not working on a Superman film with Henry, Brandon Routh, and Nick Cage after the success of No Way Home. I don't want that. I don't want any more of these. I'm done with the multiverse. I really am. I'd like them to get back to smaller movies or movies about the characters again, But we shall see. We talked about Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness yesterday, and I would have preferred more of a Doctor Strange movie, but it was pretty much a Doctor Strange is still one of my favorite Marvel movies, so I like to see them focus more on the characters. But they do have this tendency, first movie is an origin specific against a hero who has almost the same powers. The second movie becomes much bigger and, more global. And then the third movie is just crazy with lots of cameos and stuff. It's what they've done in almost all of the movies that have had 3. So I guess the next Doctor Strange is just going to be way out there. So, all right. So hopefully we're going to see Henry Cavill this weekend at San Diego Comic-Con. And if you are curious, I do have some times here, but the Hall H panel for Warner Brothers is going to be at 10:15 a.m. on Saturday. Saturday is the big day, but I'm going to give you some times and stuff for things you might find interesting. So you can every news site's going to be covering it, so you can pop out and go, okay, what's going on, and just catch the news. So let's go ahead and finish up with that one. Now, there's 2 rumors going around that have gotten a lot of attention. The first one, and this comes from CBR, and they're actually reporting from a reliable industry source named Casey Walsh. And Casey tweeted out, I don't know if Casey's a man or a woman, but the word is that, reliable industry source Casey Walsh recently responded to a tweet that stated, Kevin Feige and company are treating Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as another universe. Daisy Johnson in the 616 will have a new origin. However, aspects of her AOS story will be incorporated as a nod to all of the diehard fans. The creative team behind AOS gave their blessing. Now, Walsh confirmed that this is how Daisy Johnson, who operates as a superhero under the alias of Quake, will be treated when she enters the MCU, and also explains that this is essentially how they explain the inclusion of the Netflix characters as well, referencing Charlie Cox, Daredevil, Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, who previously returned to No Way Home and Hawkeye. Now, is Chloe Bennett coming back? That's another story. Now, there's been reports and rumors about her coming back to reprise her role as Daisy Johnson, a.k.a. Quake, in a Marvel project. Now, another scooper named My Time to Shine Hello, who has previously had a lot of really big scoops on like Spider-Man No Way Home, said that she is definitely coming. Now, this is not necessarily related to Secret Invasion, though, which is a story that did have Quake in it, but the actress has actually come out and said that she has nothing to do with Secret Invasion, so she won't be back for that, but there's a possibility she's going to return, and she's going to return in the same way that they're bringing back, Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk and stuff like that, where they're not necessarily going to say everything that happened is canon, but there'll be enough similarities that you'll feel you know the character. So I think that's pretty fair. It's a pretty good way to do it. Yes, they were in a different universe, but they're similar to what happened here in this universe. Maybe little things are changed, like, maybe Elektra's different, or maybe Matt never ran into his mother, or Jessica Jones and never met the Wizard, or Finn Jones was never Iron Fist. Those kind of things could have happened, or it could have not happened, yet everything else did. That's how they could make it work, and it looks like that's what they're going to do pertaining to the Netflix characters and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. characters. And I wonder if that will transpire into other shows as well, because there's still stuff like Cloak and Dagger, Runaways. So there's all those characters that are interesting too that they could bring in as well. JD says, I hope so. I like Chloe, but most of that was her interaction with Coulson. Yeah. And I really wish they would bring back Coulson. Clark Gregg was the heart of the MCU for a long time, and loved seeing him come back in Captain Marvel. and really wish they would just bring him back. It's a comic book movie. You can bring him back to life. They did it a bunch of times in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They could do it again. They could, just bring him back. Let's see. JD says, see, I thought that was how they'd do it. The Wilson Fisk and Hawkeye seemed like a much more brutal, less intelligent Kingpin. Yeah, he did seem a little different. Some of it looked the same, like he still had the same cufflinks from his dad, stuff like that. But then he got to the Hawaiian shirt, and no, that's definitely a lack of intelligence. Yeah, I'm taking shots on people who wear Hawaiian shirts. Go figure. All right. One other story that popped up, and this is kind of interesting wording, and I think I actually just lost it, damn it. So I'm going to have to get it back. I just deleted it by accident or closed it. So give me a second to get it back because it's fascinating, the wording on this. But it has to do with the comic panels and stuff and what we can expect from Marvel and DC. And this is from Deadline. And you'll catch the last two words are what's getting everybody kind of crazy. So this is the report from two people, Lynette Rice and Anthony D'Alessandro, and they're writing for Deadline. And they say, they talk about the fact that it's been 2 years, blah, blah, blah. Things are kicking off Thursday. And it says, Marvel shouldn't disappoint with sneak peeks of Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and the upcoming She-Hulk Attorney at Law for Disney+. But it's not expected to shower Hall H with an embarrassment of riches like it did in 2019. Some sources believe Marvel is saving it all up for Disney's fan convention D23 during the second week of September, specifically in regards to new projects. There's still stuff we haven't seen, specifically the Fantastic Four reboot, Mahershala Ali and they say The Blade, but it would just be Blade, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is due May 5th, The Marvels, July 28th, 2023, and The Mutants. That's how they end that paragraph. And The Mutants. Now, what are they talking about? Are they saying, well, as long as you don't wear those lycra print shirts with dragons or wolves on them. Okay. Are they talking about the fact that they have the mutants back and we don't know what they're doing with it? Because they didn't say the mutants due out at a certain time or a movie called The Mutants. But they do say The Mutants. And let me double check something. They put the mutants in italics like they do the Marvels, Guardians of the Galaxy. So it does appear like they're referring to it as a title. So are they trying to say that Marvel is going to do something called The Mutants? Or are they saying, what are they going to do with the mutants now that they have them back? That's where people are kind of going crazy. I saw somebody who's already made a fake logo for Marvel's The Mutants, which all he did was took the New Mutants and took off the word new. So, but also not mentioned, and I don't know why this keeps getting forgotten, but is Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, which is we're going to get in February, and I think it's going to be a lot bigger than people are expecting. Because again, look at the Marvel trend. Your first movie is more insular origin story against a hero or a villain that has identical powers. That was Ant-Man 1. Ant-Man and the Wasp, a little bit bigger, a little more global. You bring in more characters, but it's still an Ant-Man movie. The third one is where you get a bunch of cameos. It goes much bigger. And, there's a rumor right now that Ant-Man will introduce another super team. Well, Peyton Reed got into comic stuff originally by pitching to Fox a Fantastic Four movie. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if that's where they introduce the Fantastic Four and they come out of the quantum realm. That makes sense to me. But and the fact that they're going up against, Ant-Man and the Wasp are going up against Kang. Kang seems like too big a villain for just Ant-Man and the Wasp. So there's a lot of reasons why I think that this might be where they introduce the Fantastic Four, and then we get the movie with them in it. But I also expect that it's going to be the big crazy movie because Iron Man 3 had all the suits of armor in it, had the bait and switch with Mandarin, had War Machine become an Iron Patriot, Extremis. It became, it went from Los Angeles, where it always takes place, to the Midwest, where, he was working with the kid. I mean, it got bigger. Thor 3, Ragnarok. That was a Thor and Hulk movie. It wasn't just a Thor movie. It got bigger. It got the Grandmaster and Valkyrie and Hela and Surtur and Ragnarok and Fenris. I mean, just Scourge. It just got huge. Captain America 3 was Captain America Civil War. That had everybody in it. So don't be surprised if Ant-Man 3 isn't just as big. There aren't that many franchises in Marvel that gets 3 movies. So the fact it's getting the third one, it's probably going to follow the same. And even if you look at the Avengers, Infinity War was Avengers 3. So JD says, we already know that you can time travel in the quantum realm. A team of extraordinary explorers from the 60s pop into the modern realm. Yep, that is absolutely how I think they should and will end up doing it. I don't know for sure, but I would definitely have the Fantastic Four start in the 60s and then end up in the negative zone or the quantum realm and then be brought forward into modern times. That's how I would do it. Hello, Kenneth. Every time you pop up, I want to say, what's the frequency, Kenneth? Which I know is a vague reference, but unless you're an REM fan. All right, so that's the big news out of that one. Just to get some other speculation from Deadline, they're saying that Dwayne Johnson and the Warner's theatrical session will serve as Marvel's opening act, with Black Adam and Shazam! Fury of the Gods getting their much-deserved close-up. And, of course, you've got the buzz about Henry Cavill showing up. Keanu Reeves is going to have his own panel where he's talking about the Berserker movie and possibly John Wick. So there's a bunch of fun stuff. But to give you some times, that's what I think is, if you're a Nathan Fillion fan and a fan of The Rookie, there's going to be a panel for The Rookie and his new spinoff series, Rookie Feds. That's going to be at 10:45 on Thursday. If you are a Dungeons & Dragons fan, you want to know about the upcoming movie, that's at noon on Thursday, Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves. So check that out. And again, you may not be able to see this stuff, but if you check online, you check on Twitter, you'll see the important stuff hitting about, the updates and stuff. There'll be people posting about it. If you're a Teen Wolf fan, there's a new Teen Wolf movie. They're going to talk about that at 1:30 on Thursday. National Treasure, Edge of History, that new series that's coming up, that's going to be talked about at 2:15 on Thursday. There's going to be a spotlight panel for Marvel's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. That's at 2:15 on Thursday. And that has the cast of Diamond White, Lib Bearer, Fred Tatasciore. Yeah, it's an animated thing, but yeah, that's coming to Disney Plus. SpongeBob people, 3:30 on Thursday. SpongeBob with SpongeBob himself, Patrick Karen Squidinia, and Nabi. So William Shatner is going to have his own panel. I don't know if much news will come out of it, but it's William Shatner being moderated by Kevin Smith, and they are talking about his career. So that should be interesting. There's a Beavis and Butthead panel with Mike Judge at 4:45 on Thursday. And if you're a fan of the Solar Opposites, with the third season having just started, they have a panel at 7:15 on Thursday. And also you get an advanced, 10 p.m., there's an advanced screening of Harley Quinn Season 3, which I believe they're just going to show the first 2 episodes, and that's coming to HBO Max soon. Friday, Lord of the Rings, The Ring of Power will have a panel at 10:30 a.m. on Friday, so we'll probably get more information out of that, maybe more images and stuff. Check YouTube, check Twitter. Gremlins, The Secret of Mogwai will have a panel at 11 a.m. There's a Frank Miller spotlight at 11:45. At the same time, there's a Marvel Studios animation panel going on. And this is going to be important because you got the Marvel Studios head of streaming television animation getting Brad Winderbaum, who was big on working on the What If series and other projects. Also, you got the head of visual development, Ryan Meinerding, and a few special guests are going to pop up, and they're going to talk about X-Men 97, which I know a lot of people are excited about, the upcoming Marvel Zombies animated series, and What If Season 2. So 11:45 on Friday. If you're not at the show, start checking online, see what they're dropping. Okay. Tales of the Walking Dead, they're going to talk about at 12:30 on Friday. Paper Girls, there's a new Paper Girls series coming out based on the comic book series. They're going to have the cast and creators talking about that at 1:30. The Walking Dead will have a panel at 1:30 as well. Rick and Morty, the Vindicator screening and Q&A at 2. What else we got? We got Bob's Burger gets a panel at 3. And Dragon Ball Superhero is going to be at 4:30. Rebooting Lost in Space. 6:30 p.m. is going to be the world premiere of Green Lantern, Beware My Power, which is the next big animated thing from DC. I think it comes out at the end of the week or very soon to buy. And, of course, that's got like Aldous Hodge, Jimmy Simpson, Jamie Gray Hyder, Brian Bloom. Yeah, and just a lot, really good cast. So you want to check that out. This one is probably not going to, there's not going to be a lot of news coming out of it, but there's a Dr. Horrible sing-along blog and karaoke party at 9:15 p.m. That would be fun if you're at the show. Fans of Evil, there's going to be a panel about that at 10 a.m. on Saturday. So check that out. Again, look for it online to see information. Cartoon Network's having a panel at 10 a.m. on Saturday. So a lot of the stuff for upcoming will be announced at that point. 10:15 on Saturday, 10:15 a.m. That's when Warner Brothers is having their movie panel. That's going to have Black Adam and Shazam, Fury of the Gods. Expect trailers dropped out of there. Now, I think we'll get at least one of those two should have a trailer that they'll put online. If not both, we should get some footage for it. And they're expected to have Dwayne Johnson, the Black Adam director, Wam Colette Sierra, and Zachary Levi is supposed to be there. And, of course, the rumors that Henry Cavill is going to show up. House of Dragon, the upcoming sequel series to Game of Thrones, that's going to have a panel at 11:30. There's going to be a Star Trek Universe panel at 12:45, which includes Patrick Stewart, Gates McFadden, producers Rod Roddenberry, Alex Kurtzman, and cast, and this is interesting, Jack Quaid from The Boys, Tawny Newsome, Noel Wells, Don Lewis, and a bunch of other people. Also from, what's the new one? Strange New Worlds. You're going to have Anson Mount, Ethan Peck, Christina Chong, Celia Rose Gooding, Paul Wesley. I mean, and it's all going to be moderated by Leah Thompson. So expect a lot of good news coming out of there if you're a Star Trek fan. The upcoming Anne Rice Interview with the Vampire series that's coming to AMC. That's going to have a panel with cast and EPs at 2 p.m. on Saturday. The Sandman series is getting a panel at 2:30. Let's see. The Orville gets a panel at 3. Resident Alien, the Alan Tudyk series, which is going strong, which is a lot of fun. That gets a panel at 4:15. And then the mega panel, 5 p.m., Marvel Cinematic Universe, Kevin Feige and whatever surprises he brings, Hall H. So 5 p.m. And these, I don't know if they're saying these are East or West Coast times. I did not notice that. Let me just double check. I'm assuming they're West Coast times because this is all LA. So I'm going to assume it's West Coast. But we'll find out for sure on Thursday. But so 5 o'clock on Saturday night, start checking your news feed. Unless you're there. If you're there, go see the panel. But otherwise, get to see what they've got going on. That's the big panel for Saturday. There's a Peacock and UCP panel going on. There's a Kevin Smith panel at 6:30. So something called Hamster and Gretel. He has a panel at 6:45. And then Sunday, there's some more. Mayans MC gets a panel. What We Do in the Shadows gets a panel at 1:15. And Sesame Street Mech Builders, I don't even know what that is, but they have a panel at 1:45. So these are the panels that Deadline is saying you guys should check out. But a lot of the stuff that you're going to, the news and stuff you want to see is going to come out at these times. So it's a good time to check the news. I will be talking about all this stuff next week. I may pop up on my own feed when some of the big news hits. We shall see. But again, that's a lot of great stuff coming out. All right. Guys, I am way past the first commercial break. So let's take that real quick. We'll come back and we'll talk about the newest episode of Only Murders in the Building. We'll be right back.
Did you know every Experience show, including some exclusive content, streams on Twitch? Check it out. Twitch.tv/the_EXP. Or just scan that QR code.
Comic Collectibles is here for you every Wednesday with AR Comics for 2 very important reasons. To sell you rare, one-of-a-kind comics that you'll love, and to confuse AR with old man talk. You see, Rex and John are, how should I put this, ancient as the roots of the mountains. So every week, Rex and John fill in AR in yet another area of pop culture that he missed because he's too young, just didn't have the time, or just really doesn't care about. It's a real public service they provide. Come buy some super rare and unique comics, while old men explain long-dead sci-fi shows to a younger man making that confused puppy face. Every Wednesday from 6 to 8 Eastern with Rex, John, and AR Comics. Comic Collectibles on The Experience. Comic culture and sales.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Dan Wickline Show here on The Experience. Today, we've talked about San Diego Con, and now we are going to talk about Only Murders in the Building. Now, the latest episode had an interesting twist to it. Every episode, they kind of shift who's telling the story, who's kind of the center point. And this particular episode actually focuses on Martin Short's son, Oliver's son. And the episode's called The Tell. Now, we probably need the spoiler banner because the thing just dropped yesterday, so... Did we... All right, now, there's something to remember from last episode. In last episode, there was a moment that Oliver ended up on the elevator with his old friend Teddy Demas, who, of course, is played by Nathan Lane. And the first season, they figured out that Teddy killed somebody and got him arrested. But he's out because he's on, he's awaiting sentencing. And he runs into Oliver. And he tries to have a decent conversation. And as he's getting off, he goes, "I'll see you around." And Teddy turns around and says, in one of the most profanity-laden tirades, he explains how he's going to get back at Oliver. But he says, "I'm going to F you. I am going to, when you're not least expecting it, I'm going to F you. I'm going to F you so," and just goes on and on and on. And it's weird enough to see this in a show, just this tirade, but coming from Nathan Lane, of all people, is rather entertaining. Because you think of him just as nice, Yeah, you see him as, Bialystok in The Producers, but he's always just been kind of a nice character. And then here he is just out the door on this one. Well, this episode, The Tell, flashes back to when Oliver's son Teddy is a kid and they're having these parties, and Teddy's mom is there, and they play this party game called Son of Sam. And that makes sense in the 70s and 80s because Son of Sam was huge. And what is everybody got a card, and they were either a victim or one person was the Son of Sam. And Oliver was really good at figuring out who the Son of Sam was, because he said that everybody has a tell. Well, and this is kind of the framework for the episode. And they end up using that again in the modern day. But we see this flashback, and in the episode, in the flashback, Teddy's at the party because he and Oliver are good friends back then, and Teddy actually funds a lot of Oliver's productions and stuff. Well, Teddy turns out to be the Son of Sam, and then Oliver gets it like that because when Teddy's quiet, he's got something to hide. That's his tell. Well, as we go on, there's a lot of different things going on. Charles Hayden Savage is visiting Jan, the woman who tried to kill him and was his girlfriend, in prison to get some ideas who the new killer might be. And of course, she's flirting with him. And you see that kind of spark rekindle between the two of them, which is crazy because, of course, she tried to kill him. And Mabel's got her relationship growing with Alice. And Alice is like, "Hey, I've got a leak over here at my at my studio. Can I have a party at your place or a get together at your place? And Mabel's like, yeah, sure. And while Mabel's discovers a way into her apartment from the catacombs, which everybody now has, you can get into everybody's apartment from these catacombs. She's like, yeah, sure. Well, when Charles is talking to Jan, she suggests that the murder of Bunny was staged, so that perhaps they were looking for an artist or an actor, a storyteller who wanted a specific story to be told, and that they probably haven't finished telling their story. So she says, do one of you have a new friend who has come on suddenly? And of course, that describes Alice. Well, Charles and Oliver get themselves invited to the party, and Oliver decides to use the Son of Sam game to try to figure out the truth about Alice. And that's a huge thing, but there's a lot more going on in this episode. There's also Teddy, not Teddy, was they both named Teddy? Will. Oliver's son, Will. His son is having this project doing their family tree. And in doing so, he had to do a genealogy test, stuff like that. So you've got that story going on. And of course, Oliver is helping Will doing the production of Wizard of Oz. So he's got the family thing going on. They discover that, that Bunny had met with somebody the day before at the diner before she was murdered. And that person picked up a matchbox or a book of matches. And that book of matches was found right in where you can get into Mabel's apartment. So it's like, oh, and maybe she had lunch with the killer. There's a lot of clues coming up. But the big thing of the episode may not be the clues. That's the funny part, is that you have this whole Son of Sam game they start doing at the party, and Oliver figures out that Alice is the killer, and they're just knocking people off and dropping them out and stuff. And it comes down to Oliver, Mabel, and Alice left, and he accuses Alice, but in doing so, he takes it too far. He starts saying, well, you're hiding things. You have a tell. You didn't go to the college you said you went to. This, and starts laying off all this personal stuff about her. And of course, he gets it right, except she doesn't have the Son of Sam card. She has a victim card. So this, because she lied to Mabel, Mabel's got problems, but they kind of work it out. And she ends up spending the night. And Charles is on the phone talking with Jan more. So you see that relationship's still going. And Oliver's kind of confused. He's like, I was certain she was the Son of Sam. And this is his game. He's always good at. And what's funny is when he introduced the game, Alice says, oh, we've got a version of this over in England, but it's called Jack the Ripper. And it's kind of an interesting thing that Son of Sam was a strangler. Jack the Ripper killed people with knives. Bunny was killed with a knife. So maybe that was a tell. But we find out at the end of the episode that we see inside of Alice's purse, and she has the Son of Sam card. So she swapped it. Or that, she had two cards. So that's all interesting. They're trying to point the finger at Alice, and it was obvious they were going to try to point the finger at Alice. Is she the killer? She did basically introduce herself to Mabel the very next day as soon as she got out of prison or out of police headquarters. She's come on strong. It seems a bit too obvious for the new character to be brought in to be the killer. Why would she kill Bunny of all people? I mean, Yeah, but I mean, everybody became famous in the podcast, but still, it just seems a little bit of a stretch for a brand new character to be the killer. So, okay. And how would she know about the catacombs, and how would she know so much about? They haven't given us enough to make it seem like her yet. Now, JD says she's just a huge fan of the podcast and wanted to be part of it. Yeah, I'm going to kill somebody so you can do a season 2. Just wanted to help the show, you know? But the big reveal at the end of the episode has nothing to do with the murders. It's Will says, we got the results on the DNA test. And he says, you say you're 100% Irish, right? And Oliver's like, yep, 100%. He goes, that's weird because, you know, my side of the family says I'm Greek. Turns out he's 100% that. Which then flashes back to the night from the opening flashback where Teddy was the son of Sam killer, and we see Oliver sit down between Teddy and Oliver's wife and says, you got another secret tonight, Teddy, because you're being awful quiet. Or reverse that, you were being awful quiet. You got another secret you're keeping? And you see his wife get very nervous, and you're like, so Teddy was having an affair with Oliver's wife and is actually the father of Will. That's interesting. I don't know if that's how Teddy planned to get back at Oliver, but that's a pretty good revenge, just done way in advance, you know? So I thought that was a pretty interesting twist. And that's what they've done more in this season. There's been a lot more personal twists, you know? Mabel and Alice hooking up. You know, they didn't really, you know, we had the situation last season with, what was his name? Oscar. So she had the relationship with Oscar, and they really just kind of said, well, you know, Oscar and I weren't going to work out. They just kind of waved him off as season 2 started. I mean, they haven't even brought him in the show at all. Nothing. Just one word mentioned. Hey, what happened to Oscar? Well, we're taking some time. It wasn't going to work out between us. Okay. Well, so they set up this relationship. You've got this whole subplot with Charles becoming Brazos again, but Uncle Brazos and the girl that his stepdaughter coming back into his life, and now he's kind of hooking up with Jan again. You've got Oliver helping his son with the play, and you know, possibly selling the rights to the podcast to Amy Schumer. So you got all that going on. So there's a lot more external stuff happening, which is interesting. It's a season 2, so but it doesn't feel like they're giving us as many clues. You know, we got the matchbook. We saw that, you know, she had lunch with the person. It kind of seems like it's a guy, but, you know, they seem really good at making women look like guys if they want to in the shows, just from, you know, putting them in heavier clothes, thicker clothes, stuff like that, to make the gender not apparent. But yeah, it's really interesting what they're doing this season. And we're 5 episodes in. And I believe there's going to be 10 total. Yes. So we're halfway. And we don't really have a lot of good suspects. We got Alice. We've got maybe Uma, the neighbor who, was looking for the painting. We've got the cat guy. So we've got some decent Howard, and it might even be one of their fans. One of the there's one particular guy, one of the fans that keeps showing up. And he's Marv, played by Daniel Orsekis. And he's a little too involved. Kind of get the feeling there might be more to him than we've seen. But, there's some of the other super fans, but he's a little more. So we'll have to see what happens with him. But it's still such a fun show. It is very twisted. The cat guy in this show. You could have played Howard Morris. You absolutely could have. So Lisa pointed out when the killer was making his way through the catacombs, he sneezed, or they sneezed. I keep putting a gender on them, but they sneezed, and she thinks that's important. So it's like, okay, just write that down. So, all right, guys. So that's the show for today. I will be back tomorrow, same time. Not really sure what we'll talk about tomorrow. I'll figure it out between today and tomorrow, but it should be good. Stick around. We have Comics Collectibles with Rex and John and guest AR. There is some amazing Ken Hazer art. There are 2 Civil War covers that he's drawn Captain America and Iron Man on, looking at each other. And someone's got to buy those as a set because they're just cool as hell. There's signed books by Nick Spencer and Dan Jurgens. Oh, and the 2 Ken Hazer covers are also signed by Charles Soule. So a little extra bump there. So check it out. You can... that's coming up. And then remember, at 8:15 Eastern, 5:15 Pacific, Kyle will be on giving you a lot of the, publisher information. Since you aren't at San Diego Comic-Con, he's catching you up on all that stuff. So you'll want to stick around for that. Great stuff. Stick around for it. I'll be back tomorrow. Have a good night.
Join the party. Head over to our link tree to find all the links for everywhere the experience is all the time.